Right now it uses the hook from our previous season robot, but I'm planning to change it to a polycarb hook, like over here with 0.25-inch thick polycarb that we can cut with a bandsaw. Something like this instead of that old hook over there. And yeah, so this is how the climber would look, and the spring would be attached, and I'll be moving the spring from over here down here. I guess that's all for the climber.
Yeah, I think the parts were coming along on Saturday. My biggest stress to you is don't worry so much about the hook. Use the temporary hook you have.
All right.
Get this thing put together and running on the motor so you can kind of look at the issues. Even if we're just using a DC motor and something really simple to just run it up and down. Like we need to see where this is going to fail, and we have to operate it soon. So
Okay.
so definitely let's try to get this thing as your little prototype, just almost like what you have on the little prototype piece, wired up and ready to test with the Rio as soon as possible.
Yep. And just a few more things that the things that need to be finished building are these two rollers on the bottom and the spring that we had to figure out which one we need, and that's all that needs to be done. And then testing.
Well, keep in mind that you're not supporting the other side, so you're going to need to come up with a plan of how you're going to support. Right now, you have a floating plate that's not attached to anything
Yeah.
because this isn't on the robot yet. So you probably need to go ahead and design something to do a prototype on it.
Could we use a 3D printed part that just attaches on? We could use that as a temporary attachment.
I mean, I think you're going to need to make something solid. I mean, even if it's just a piece of wood that attaches to this,
Okay.
you just put in with some wood screws, but it can look pretty big and complicated, but it can, not complicated, but just, it can look a little ugly. But make it where it'll sit on the table and run the motor up and down so you can just test it.
All right.
It's the test rig, and if it works, transfer all this to the robot. Make it run the same way.
Yep. Okay.
And if you want, just CAD a 2x4 and say, here's how I'm going to do it, and we can give you some quick feedback if that's a good plan. Just a piece of wood that will support that plate for you, and we'll look at it and give you some feedback, so that way you can go and just cut something from your garage and put it on there.
Okay. I'll work on that.
Cedric or Sid, you guys want to do the overall robot CAD so we can see where we're at?
So you can take it. My computer will probably die. So.
Okay. Hopefully mine doesn't. Let's see. The fans are already on, and I'm just in a Google Meet, so no promises. Oh yeah, no. My computer randomly blue screens every time I open up Onshape.
Good morning.
Well, I think the first thing we can talk about is we've come up with a configurable assembly part that allows us to make parts like dead axle rollers, and so that'll help with our standardization and probably something that we'll release on our Open Alliance post. It's really nice, and I think we're using it for most of our stuff. We also had some issues with our dead axle rollers failing due to layer adhesion. So we've come up with improved files that have more support for our stuff and bigger surface area at the points that will probably be taking the highest load, like the bearing and the pulley itself, because we were driving in some test matches with just our intake, and the intake just completely shattered. So, yeah. Yeah.
Stuff happened before. You know,
Yeah.
it slows us down, but it's much.
Oh, and yeah, my computer's still loading.
Okay. Why don't we
Yeah.
talk programming in the meantime, Sid? You have the robot with you? How's that going?
I haven't gotten to working on it yet, but today and tomorrow afternoon, I'll probably be grinding out some code stuff, and probably we'll get started on like getting auto stuff and odometry fixed, and then we'll move to getting like all the flywheel logic and stuff completely locked down and ready to go, so that we can just hand it off to someone once we get the like pivot part of the arm ready to go.
I think you should prioritize getting the index, say, they're very easy to use, or we work.
Okay.
So we can have the automated state mode that you guys should talk about, but we also need to have the test mode with the joysticks that we're testing the index, putting in, you need to slow it down, and joystick, and then it inserts it into the shooter, and then the shooter shoots it. That's the shooter and different parameters that you can have to program. You need to do that.
Yeah, I'll get all that stuff set up. Adrian, I did want to ask a question.
Sure.
Is Advantage Kit really like worth it? Because as far as I can see, like the implementation is taking up a lot of, like it's adding a bunch of complexity and making it a bit harder to read the code. And I haven't seen like an exact use for it yet. Like,
I mean, I think that the main reason I think we were using Advantage Kit in the first place was for kind of like it's able to like capture match data. So like if we let's say have a match, right? If we use Advantage Kit, we would be able to essentially kind of replay that match. And let's say something went wrong during the match, we'd be able to replay that match in the Advantage scope application thing, and we could look at like different parameters to see what exactly what happened during the match. That's really the main reason we're using that. But I do agree with what you're saying. It adds a lot of complexity, like especially adding Advantage Kit for each subsystem takes like a whole other file, and and that's true. And also, I know most teams don't use it because of that, and you're right, but it really comes down to like how much do we want to be able to like look at match data. That's really its main draw, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like its other features are kind of negligible. They're all right at best, but the main thing is having Advantage Kit would make like debugging stuff a lot easier if something happens like during a match, like for example. I guess that's the main thing.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, its features are like okay at best.
All right. Yeah. In that case,
Repeat the test code mantra. It's like we're in the test the intake, test the indexer, test the shooter. So it likely won't be a style that we look at in the competition. We need to make sure that whatever we have is pretty quick and ready. We can run all those subsystems very quickly. Maybe something on the dashboard where we switch into test mode. And this is something we could almost do in like lines before a match, just to make sure everything's running the way we expect it to. Actually, the shooter, we're gonna have to figure like shooter at like max value, mid value, make sure everything sounds right. If the shooter sounds strange, you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of would agree. And also, one more thing that me and Kyle kind of noticed on Friday, I think it was, is your code with your code, Sid. The code you currently have, it's perfect for competition, I'd say. But I do agree with testing; it's a little janky sometimes.
Yeah.
And especially if you have some disconnected parts, the code just won't run. So, like for example, on Friday to test the shooter, the indexer, the intake together, we kind of tore apart and commented some stuff out to get it to run. So yeah, maybe like a separate what's it called, command
I
maybe.
made a branch on Saturday for testing, and it has all the Advantage Kit stuff in it, so that we can look through it.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually looked at that before this meeting, so I think that's great. But yeah, just to point something out. Yeah.
So where are the robots? Sid has one. Where's the?
The other one's with Butzel. He has all the bumper stuff and climber stuff in the other robot.
Yeah, it's in my garage.
Back to Butzel.
Yeah, I'll bring it back on Tuesday when we have our next meeting.
What about the robot you have, Sid?
I'll bring it to Westside on Tuesday so that the programmers can work on it, and then we'll probably have like a programming meeting of some sort on Tuesday, either virtually or at my house, and we'll just get as much code stuff as we can banged out with that. That's the plan. That way, like before we manufacture like our actual plates and stuff, we can have a code running and ideally get some driver practice. And like,
let's plan to announce what we're doing, so people that aren't on this meeting, like know where the robots are. Like Les is going to probably be there on Tuesday. Maybe lessons in the lesson.
okay.
That's what we're going to do. That's fine. I have a feeling that either Wednesday or Thursday, or parts, we probably didn't. Somebody needs to come by there. In terms of spring break, I mean, I guess we have a similar schedule to last year. What would be out to run the robot?
I think the biggest thing over spring break is get the robot like fully finalized, like machined parts, all this stuff that needs to be machined, and then like get them all assembled and mounted. So do you know, because if we need like shop space, like with tables and stuff and like lots of room, like I can ask someone for space like that. But
well, I say for now, I mean, it's more of like a time of letting the programmers do their thing. And yes, we're going to probably need to do some assembly. If it's something really important, you know, we can have her over to Eller's house, which is really simple.
okay.
But I think it's really, we just need a garage space that's empty. The robot can shoot, can index, all that stuff on the floor. And that's fine if we want to set up my garage and stuff. So yeah, we'll send out that schedule, let everyone know what we're doing. But just kind of plan on spring break, we're going to be pretty active. Everyone has to take this week. Any questions about the schedule, programming? I take it we don't have a CAD yet.
Yeah, no, my Onshape is just a big white screen.
Yeah, I can try to share it if you want me to.
Well, let's just talk driving then.
Okay.
Who's interested in the driving? That's all. Good.